Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem. We are a community of diverse people. We follow many spiritual paths. We live, play, grieve, worship, learn, grow, and love in many different ways. Yet we are a community. We are a community of people who worship together, seek answers together, and support each other through sorrow and joy. Our minister, the Reverend Rick Davis, is not in the pulpit this week. We welcome the Reverend Charles Bush, who is ordained in the United Church of Christ. He is a graduate of Trinity University and Harvard University, a former U.S. Marine and founder of Fields of Peace, which you will hear more about later in the service. Wherever you are, whomever you are welcome.
Our opening hymn today is Mother of All. It's number 91 in the gray hymnal.
affirmation is a declaration, an assertion, a proclamation. The words remind us of our shared promise, our commitment to each other. Let's say our affirmation together. Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration. Build a community of caring fellowship, nurture the hopes, and serve the needs of our world. I'm going to invite Reverend Bush to help us light our chalices. And as we light our chalices here in the sanctuary, I invite you to light a chalice wherever you are. At UUCS, it is our tradition to light 3 chalices. The first for our members and friends, all of you here and all who gather with us. The second is for our partner church in Šimenvalva, Transylvania, Romania. And the third is for our children and youth. They carry this flame into the future. And oftentimes the candles are not as cooperative as we'd like. Please join us in singing the flame into life.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Hello and welcome to the Time for All Ages portion of the service. The story I'm going to tell you today is called I've Loved You Since Forever by Hoda Kotb. I've loved you since forever, before birds flew over rainbows and monkeys swung on trees. There was you, and there was me. Before the sun rose in the sky and honey came from bees, there was you, and there was me. I've loved you since forever, before the moon lit up the night and elephants wandered free. There was you, and there was me. Before otters swam together and rivers reached the sea, there was you, and there was me. Waiting for the day our stars would cross and you and I turned in to we. Thanks be and happy Mother's Day. Please do consider joining us for the Children and Family Service being held at 9:45 a.m. via Zoom on Sunday mornings.
The Reverend Fred Rogers seemed to always have the right words to say. For countless children and adults, he filled the role of nurturer. Today, I'd like to share with you some of his words. Confronting our feelings and giving them appropriate expression always takes strength, not weakness. It takes strength to face our sadness and to grieve, and let our grief and anger flow in tears when they need to. It takes strength to talk about our feelings and to reach out for help and comfort when we need it. Mr. Rogers was also mindful of the need to be grateful. All of us have special people who have loved us into being. Would you take just a moment to think of the people who have helped you become who you are? Those who have cared about you and wanted what is best for you in life. Whomever you've been thinking about, how pleased they must be to know the difference that you feel that they've made. May God be with you. please take a moment to share what's happening in your life by going to our website, uusalem.org, and putting your comments in the joys and concerns. You can also find the comments others have left there, and thank you for being part of our community.
Our pastoral hymn today is What Wondrous Love. It's number 18 in the Gray Hymnal.
What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round, oh my soul, friends to me gathered round, oh my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing, I will sing. To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends, oh, pain and sorrow mend. With thanks unto the end I will sing, I will sing. With thanks unto the end I will sing.
Through our scientific and technological genius, we have made of this world a neighborhood. And yet, we have not had the ethical commitment to make of it a brotherhood. But somehow, in some way, we have got to do this. We must learn to live together as brothers, or we shall all perish together as fools. We are tied together in the single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. For some strange reason, I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. That is the way God's universe is made. This is the way it is structured. John Donne caught it years ago and placed it in graphic terms. No man is an island entire to himself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a piece of the main. And he goes on toward the end to say, any man's death diminishes me because I am in mankind. Therefore, never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. We must see this, believe this, and live by it if we are to remain awake through a great revolution. World peace through nonviolent means is neither absurd nor unattainable. All other methods have failed. Thus, we must begin anew. Nonviolence is a good starting point. Those of us who believe in this method can be voices of reason, sanity, and understanding amid the voices of violence, hatred, and emotion. We can very well set a mood of peace out of which a system of peace can be built.
Good morning. I'm so pleased to be here and to worship with you, and I'm grateful to Reverend Davis for his invitation to me to share a message this morning, and also to Janet Stevens, who's been my shepherd, helping me get ready for the service, and I love these readings, Reverend King and Reverend Rogers. They set the stage for the message I want to share with you this morning. With you, I celebrate Mother's Day. I had the good fortune to grow up in a home with three mothers. So I had three mothers: my mother, my paternal grandmother, and great-grandmother. And each of those three women held me, poured love into me, and today I very much feel their presence, and each day I feel the warmth, the strength, their wisdom, and their faith. They guide me each day. I come to you this morning from Fields of Peace. Fields of Peace is a small nonprofit headquartered on the Oregon coast, and our vision is very much a vision in keeping with the readings today. A world in which conflicts are solved through peaceful means. That seems to me very appropriate to Mother's Day, which you may remember originated back in 1870 with a proclamation by Julia Ward Howe. Her proclamation honored the fathers and the husbands and the sons who died in the Civil War. But she also included in her proclamation a message to the mothers throughout the world, telling them, let's come together with the power of our love and find the means to world peace. When Fields of Peace began 13 years ago, most of our work was peace education and activism. We taught workshops, did a great deal of interfaith work, newsletters. And then something happened. I received in the mail from a friend a periodical from Stanford University. And in that periodical, there was an article reporting on a panel discussion at that university on the subject of ethics and war. And one of the panel members, Judge Richard Goldstone, who had been one of the very first judges at the International Court, Criminal Court in The Hague, he reported this: the ratio of combatant to civilian deaths in World War I was 9 combatant deaths to 1 civilian death. That changed dramatically in World War II because of airplanes and bombs and the bombing of cities. In World War II, the ratio was 1 combatant death to 1 civilian death. Today, in our modern wars, the ratio is 1 combatant death to 9 civilian deaths. 1 combatant death to 9 civilian deaths. And of those civilian deaths, the majority are children. So in today's wars, far more children die than combatants. It is accurate to say that war has become the killing of children. Well, those statistics struck me. They struck me as a moral imperative. And I had two immediate questions. First, are those numbers real? And what I found was that for 3 and more decades, those very numbers had been reported by the UN, agencies of the UN, by human rights organizations, by numerous NGOs, and also by universities' peace study programs. My second question was simply, what can I do? What can Fields of Peace do? There are so many armies, so many wars, so many people in favor. And an episode came to mind from Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. Some of you may remember this little scene. The oldest brother of the family was living in Moscow. He was a man of the world, a cynic, and a non-believer. And he came home for a visit. And late one evening, he had a visit with the youngest of the brothers, Aloysia. Aloysia was pure in heart and was already beginning as a novice in a monastery. And so the older brother, Ivan, says to him, consider this. Let's say that I have the power to offer you this bargain. The bargain is a utopia in which all nations are at peace, a lasting peace, and each person has a roof over their heads and plenty to eat. Would you accept that utopia in exchange for one small price? The death, the killing of one child. Aloysia answered no. I hear that bargain in what is proposed to us again and again in our country and so many countries. I offer you national security, continuing comfort in your lives, if you will support ongoing wars, wars which are the killing of children. And so I join Aloysia and so many others in saying no. But how to say no? How to go about this? And what occurred to me was the obvious and the simplest thing. There's something I can do. There's something we can do immediately. We can make a promise to our children. A promise to our children, to all children. And the words I wrote down were, I will not be a part of the killing of any child, no matter how lofty the reason. And as I began to think of that promise, or the beginning of that promise, I thought naturally of my own child, Gabriel. Gabriel came to me when I was 52, and to Kathy, my wife. And in those first months, the first months of feeding and changing and tucking Gabriel in, I wondered how I could have preached about love for so many years and known so little about it. So little about the absolute vulnerability, the way in which tenderness takes over. And so the child, Gabriel, became the very center of my world. And there's that lump in the throat. The world's not safe. I cannot always be there. All parents have this experience, and grandparents, and neighbors who love from afar, and strangers. The world changes with a child in our midst. And that is true for my neighbor across the street, for people in foreign lands who see the world so much differently than I do, and even for those who are called our enemy. This is a profound common ground. Julia Ward Howe touched on it, how intuitive she was, thinking, let's get the power of the love of mother after mother after mother around the world and serve notice and change things. And so I thought as well, let's make a promise that includes all mothers and fathers and those who have a child in their life who claims them. And so I added to my little promise, I will not be a part of the killing of any child, no matter how lofty the reason, not my neighbor's child, not my child, not the enemy's child. War has become the killing of children, and I feel the complicity. And as I say the promise, I feel the complicity of being part of a nation which is a military empire. 1/2 of every dollar our government spends goes to the military. Half every year. Our nation has 800 foreign military bases spread out over 70 countries. We're an empire. The United Kingdom, France, and Russia combined have about 30 foreign bases. We have 800. And we are the gun store for the world. We sell the majority of planes and ships and ammo to feed the wars of the world. So I add a last portion to the promise, to acknowledge my complicity, which has been quite personal, having served in the Marine Corps, paying all of my taxes each year, and all of these things happening, these wars in my name. And so the last part of the promise, I will not be a part of the killing of any child, no matter how lofty the reason. Not my neighbor's child, not my child, not the enemy's child. Not by bomb, not by bullet, not by looking the other way. I will be the power that is peace. Those words may seem very slight. They seem slight to me. A handful of words, 48 words, up against a military industry, wars, Pentagon, so forth. But words have the power of creation. Nothing begins that does not begin with words. They are the instruments of creation. You and I know that from the roots of our tradition. I think of the Hebrew prophets, in particular Isaiah. Isaiah said, this is 700 years before Jesus' birth, nation will not lift up sword against nation, neither will they learn war anymore. He spoke those words traveled out, they were heard, we repeat them in our worship services, we repeat them in our meditations, and those words have stayed in the air, waiting for the right time, waiting for the right time. Through all of those centuries, and that time may have come right now. And I say that because in your lifetime and mine, our world has become small, very small. An unknown singer in Nigeria composed a song on YouTube in the evening, and by morning, 1.5 million young people with wearing ear pods can be singing the song in a dozen countries. A couple of years ago, Greta Thunberg, a name you probably know, sat on the steps, a 16-year-old high school student, on the steps of the Swedish parliament with a handmade cardboard sign, "Strike for Climate." Within 9 months, she was addressing the Assembly of the United Nations. A small world. We are connected. By saying the promise, by letting the words travel, they will travel through repetition, first in you and me, transforming us, setting our feet and hands to action in the world. But they will travel out. They will travel out as Isaiah's words have, and be heard. And they'll be heard by mothers, and the mothers will repeat them. And fathers will hear them, and grandparents, and loving neighbors, and loving strangers. People far off will hear them. And they will be serving notice, whole peoples serving notice to presidents and prime ministers and parliaments and senates, serving notice, stop the killing of children in war. Stop war. I've heard it said that war is a failure of the imagination. I believe that. Imagine yourself standing on an Air Force runway. It's dawn, barely light. You are there in your pilot's jumpsuit, and behind you is a stealth bomber, its wings as black as a bat. And next to you is a 5-year-old girl in a pink party dress. You don't know her, she doesn't know you, but she's smiling. She is beautiful, utterly beautiful. In your pocket, you have a cigarette lighter. You have been ordered, for lofty reasons, to do to her now what you will do in a few hours from 30,000 feet to many other children, to light her dress on fire, to light her on fire. And so you kneel. You take out your lighter. She has no idea, and she's still smiling, and it helps you not to know her name. But you cannot do it. Of course, you cannot do it. Today, bombs fall. You can name the countries as well as I: Syria, Yemen, Iraq, Afghanistan, so many others. And children are being killed, maimed, orphaned, crazed. This need not be so. The world is now small. Our promise can make a difference. We can make a promise, and those words repeated morning after morning. Step outside. Let the birds and the clouds and the wind take them, and step inside through the internet and cell phone. Those words serving notice: stop the killing of children in war. Those words accomplishing nation not lifting up sword against nation. I hope you will join me in this promise day after day, and to begin to say it together now. I will not be a part of the killing of any child, no matter how lofty the reason. Not my neighbor's child, not my child, not the enemy's child. Not by bomb, not by bullet, not by looking the other way. I will be the power that is peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Bush. We ask for your support of the work of this congregation and its many ministries. Let us look into our hearts and see what generosity exists there. Let us give from our hearts gifts of kindness, hope, and understanding, and gifts of peace. At UUCS, we share our blessings through the works of our many teams, groups, and ministries, and through our Share the Plate program. This month, we share our blessings with Salem Harvest, which is a nonprofit organization that connects farmers and backyard growers with volunteer pickers to harvest fruits and vegetables that would otherwise go to waste. You can make donations by logging onto our website, uusalem.org, and clicking on the Donate button. I'd like to ask Reverend Bush to kindle our social justice candle from our community chalice. This lantern symbolizes the carrying of the light in each of us out into the world. And this social justice candle is notorious for being difficult to light. Oh, well done. As we extinguish our chalices today, remember that the light and warmth they bring is symbolic. The true light and warmth comes from you, your kind hearts, your seeking mind, your compassion, your fellowship. May we keep our flames burning bright until we are together again. Please join us after the service for our Zoom fellowship gathering. It'll be at noon, and we hope to see you all there. The UUCS Artworks team would like to ask you to contribute art to be used in the service. You can see the parameters there on the screen. If you need more information, it's at uusalem.org. The Flower Communion's coming up, something we all look forward to, always the first Sunday in June. And we need photos of your flowers so that we can gather a beautiful bouquet representing our entire congregation and all of our friends. As you can tell, our resumption of in-person Sunday services has been delayed until restrictions change. Please keep your eye on our Facebook page and our website, and we'll let you know as soon as we know when it can be resumed. We have a special Zoom event coming up, and we hope you'll join us. As you know, UUA is a body that we are a part of, and we want to know what's happening. We want to know changes that are taking place, and we want to have a voice in that. Please join us on Tuesday, May 11th at 6 p.m. as we discuss what's happening in the UUA and why we should care. We have some other things happening. There's going to be the biannual Cordon Road cleanup on June 5th. And if you'd like to join the newly formed women's group, you can go ahead and email me at womensgroup@uusalem.org. To order books that on Charles Bush's Fields of Peace, you can see the information there, or you can go ahead and check on the website and we'll have that information there.
Our closing hymn today is Lady of the Seasons Laughter. It's number 51 in the gray hymnal.
Lady of the seasons, laughter in the summer warmth be near. When the winter follows after, teach our spirits not to fear. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning year. Sister of the evening starlight, in the falling shadows stay, here amongst us till the far light of tomorrow's dawning ray. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning day.
your hearts with all of our members and friends, and your hands with those nearby to speak our closing words. May faith in the Spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come.